There we go. All right, everyone sees that still, right? All right, so let's get this started. First off, I got to teach you really quick about this thing called manorialism, and really just how it comes together. Manorialism is how people lived during the Middle Ages. So just looking at this picture, what do you see? Really quick, what do you see? Awesome garden and grassy area they have right outside their house. The manor is just to describe this giant area of land. In the center of the manor, you have the manor house. Yeah, Zoe, go for it.
Like the Malfoy Manor from Harry Potter.
Exactly. Like very rich, wealthy people don't call themselves don't call their houses houses. They call them manos, and they often speak like this. And that was a really bad impression, but whatever. You get the idea. And that's where that term comes from, going back to the Middle Ages. Now, 3 really important parts of manorialism that you need to know, okay? First one, they are self-sufficient. What does a self-sufficient manor mean? What does the term self-sufficient mean? Come on, people. What does self-sufficient mean?
Like you can get your own stuff.
You can get your own stuff. You don't need anyone's help. Is that so on the manor, they have their own blacksmiths, their own forests, their own farms, their own shepherds, their own water supplies, all of that stuff. Is that a good thing or a bad thing to be self-sufficient?
Good thing.
Both.
What do you mean both, Caleb? Because I agree with you. It's both good and bad. Why?
It's both because you have to do all the work. You have to get everything yourself. You can't really depend on other people. But and the other part, you're not sending things to people. People aren't asking for your help.
Perfect. And does the Lord actually do any of that work?
Not really.
No, so they have their own person who's going to run all that stuff, right? Now, this is really, really, really important, okay? Everyone make sure you understand this. Self-sufficiency is good, but the other bad part that comes with being self-sufficient is you're not trading, you're not communicating, you're not meeting with people. And so check this out. Who are you more likely to murder? The random dude across the street that you've never met, or your best friend?
Random dude.
Random dude, right? Because you don't have connections with that person. You don't trade with that person. You don't meet with that person. And so one of the problems with self-sufficient manors is because they're not talking and communicating and trading with each other, they don't have any reason to help each other. Does that make sense? And so like if I'm walking in downtown Santa Cruz and I see Eric P getting beat up on the streets of downtown Santa Cruz, I might help him. But if at the same time, my student that I had for 3 straight years in real life classes is getting beat up on the other side of the street, who am I going to help first? Not Eric. Sorry, Eric. I'm going to help Lillian, or I'm going to help some student that I've had for longer because I have more of a connection with them. Same problem with self-sufficient manors. Queen Zoe doesn't really care about King Sebastian. She doesn't have any connections with King Sebastian. She doesn't trade with King Sebastian. So when it comes time to take King Sebastian's land, she's going to. Does that make sense? They're not friends. They're not united. They're not together. Second thing that you need to make sure you understand is that the manor house is in the center, and the idea for putting the manor house or the castle in the center is most of the people are going to live around it. So if attack is coming, everyone can get rushed into the castle or into the manor house, and then the people who live in that manor house, the knights, the lord, their job is to defend those peasants. Can I get a thumbs up? That all makes sense? Like if I am the lord of Santa Cruz and my house is, let's say, in Watsonville, okay? My castle is in Watsonville, and I only say that because there actually is a medieval castle in Watsonville that someone built like 100 years ago. It's super cool to walk around. There's like trap doors and secret passageways and stuff. If there's an attack in Davenport, am I going to be able to go defend Davenport before they all get murdered? No, right? It's too far, so you want to build everything around that manor. And that question about manorialism will come back in this class on your Middle Ages test. So make sure you understand it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you should like listen a little more and try and remind yourself of what this stuff is. All right, now check it out. I want to teach you about feudalism, and I want to make you really feel feudalism. And so here's what I need you to do. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds, and in the chat, I want you to publicly So you can talk to everyone in the chat. I want you to post publicly. I want you to pick one name out of this list of names. And this is a little bit one of those choose your own adventure things where depending on what name you pick, we'll find out who you end up being. And if you didn't realize, those names are either my family members or people from the office.
I saw Pam and Jim right there. And
wasn't
Ryan and
particularly
Meredith
sneaky.
and Michael and Dwight. Okay.
You got about 15 seconds to pick a name. And it's all random. You don't know which names are going to be good, which names are going to be bad. Just pick a name, any name. And it's okay if multiple people have the same name. It'll be all right. Mwahaha. All right, 10 more seconds. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to go back and double check to see who you were and what deserves to happen. Because here's how this is going to work. Oh, and only pick one name. Don't try and pick multiple names because I'm just going to give you the worst of those names. Here's how this is going to work, everyone. Based on the name you just chose, you will either get 0 points for this assignment or more or less. If you picked a soil-shoving loser peasant name, bummer. If you were lucky enough to pick the king or queen, good job. You're going to start with 10 points, and then we're going to see if I can make you really, really understand what being a part of the feudal pyramid is like. So check it out. Here we go. You ready? Ooh, so far I see some bad picks. Here we go. So first off, pretty simple game. You start with 10 points, and if your name is up there right now, meaning you picked Tim, Michael, Joseph, Mike, Dwight, Meredith, Janet, Sue, Amy, Jamie, Walter, Beverly, Laura, Marina, Jay, Robert, Julian, Pam, Chris, Denise, Elizabeth, or Anthony, congratulations. You have been given the job of a soil-shoving loser peasant. I see Eric being very angry. I see Zoe being like, I'm not a peasant. Oh, you are. This is a choose your own adventure. You started as a peasant and you cannot go change your place now. You start with 10 points and 10 points only. Now, I want you to imagine right now that as a peasant, we're right in fall, right now, which means you've pulled all your crops in, and it's time for the lords and the knights and the kings to collect their taxes from their peasants. And so those peasants are bringing in 10 points worth of food, and everyone in the class starts at 10 points. But it's time for those taxes. Hey, soil-shoving loser peasants, are you ready to give up your taxes? I like how there's a couple people going, nope, I'm not paying my taxes. Hey, Eric, what happens to rebellious peasants? Eric C. Want to take a guess as to what happens to rebellious peasants?
They die.
They die. And so time to pay your taxes. Here we go.
Off with their heads.
Now, those are the peasants. You'll notice I moved the names around a little bit. So find your name if you are a soil-shoving loser peasant. And I pushed them into 5 zones, 5 columns. Does everyone see that? All right, now I'm going to tell you who your knight is that is standing above you. And we might be able to see some excitement or some sadness depending on which names people picked. So here we go. Our knights are Sir James, Lady Brianna, Sir Ryan, Sir Casey, and Sir Jim. Did anyone pick any of those? We got any knights in this group? Eric P, we got Clive. Chris, I'm about to boot you into the waiting room if you can't be a little more mature. Come on, man.
Okay.
We just have 2 knights and a whole lot of soil-shoving loser peasants. Now, here's how this is going to work, and I'm not joking. It's going into the grade book. To start us off, it's time for the peasants to pay their taxes. And so right now, 2 points in taxes going up to your knight. And so if you're a peasant, you're now sitting on 8 points because you paid your first round of taxes. Wait, Mr. Alberry, did you just say our first round of taxes? Yeah, people, because you got to pay some people above the knights. And if you are sitting there as a knight, raise your hand again. Who got to be knights? Clive, what name did you pick?
Jim.
So we got Clive as Jim, which is a good one because he's a knight, right? So he starts with 10 points, and then he gets 2 for each of those people on his fiefdom. So Chris got to pay 2, Denise has to pay 2, Elizabeth has to pay 2, and Anthony has to pay 2. Now Clive's sitting at 18 out of 10 points. Clive has gotten enough extra credit right now, so he doesn't even have to do the next assignment in my class, and he'll still hold on to his A. And yes, this is really going in the grade book. Good choice, Clive. Peasants, are you enjoying your 8 out of 10 points? You
No.
soil shoving losers. Are you ready for it to get worse? Now, the peasants don't just pay up to the knights. It's now time for the peasants to meet their lords. And so we have Lord Alex and Duke Carl. Did anyone pick Alex or Carl?
Me. I chose Alex.
Yeah,
I chose
Wyatt.
Alex.
Parker, did you pick Alex too?
I picked Alex.
So we have 2
I
Lord
did.
Alexes, which means, once again, to recreate that feudalism, we got those peasants that are already sitting on 8 out of 10 points. It's time to pay up their taxes to their lords as well, which
I
means
picked
another
Alex.
set of 2 points go up. So now our peasants are sitting at 6 out of 10 points. Welcome to being the soil shoving losers
This
of
is
the
rigged.
system. That means Lord Alex, let's make sure we get this math right for Parker and Wyatt. On their side, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 peasants, each of them paying 2 points up. So that's what, 13, 26 points plus the 10 they started with, which means Lord Alex is now sitting on a 36 out of 10.
Woo!
Let's go.
Wait, but my name's not up there. It's nowhere.
Yes.
Who'd you pick, Zoe?
I picked Aurora.
Oh,
Me
and
too.
Zoe, there might be one group that's still left. The peasants have now paid their taxes to the knights, and they've paid their taxes to the lords. There's one final group, which is the kings and queens, and we have Aurora, the third, by the grace of God, Queen of Britain, France, and Ireland, Defender of the Faith, which is a real title, actually, not for Queen Aurora because she didn't exist, but instead for King George. But whatever, moving on. Check it out. Now, once again, it's time to pay our taxes from our soil-shoving loser peasants in feudalism. And
This is
Lily's
100%
starting to get
rigged.
a little irritated now. Lily's starting to feel like this system isn't fair, or this
This isn't rigged.
It's not supposed to be fair, people. This is a real, authentic glimpse into feudalism. And so if you're sitting there being like, being a peasant sucks, I don't like this, congratulations. You're actually feeling what being a peasant would be like. Now, here's the last round of taxes. 2 points from all the peasants going up to our queens, Aurora, which would be, let's count it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22 plus 10, or sorry, 22 times 2, so that would be 44, right? Plus 10, that means that Aurora and anyone who picked Aurora is getting a 54 out of 10 for this assignment. Basically meaning they don't have to do any work in this class for the next 2 weeks because they just got so much extra credit because they are the king or the queen. Welcome to feudalism, people. How many of you are feeling a little bit bitter?
Me. Okay.
Oh wait, let me
Damn.
reiterate. My bad, I forgot one thing. The peasants are now down to 4 out of 10 points.
No,
I
no.
forgot to say that. My
I'm
bad.
gonna lose so much credit. I need
Sienna, can I throw you under the bus real quick? Sienna is normally very excited for this class. She's normally very participatory. She's normally very engaged. She's like sitting up. She's there for the lesson. Everyone look at Sienna right now. She's not looking particularly happy with Mr. Oliveri. Is that fair to say? Zoe and Caitlin tend to participate, but they're not always like them. Both of them sometimes get a little distracted. Do you see how focused both of them are on this lesson right now? As they dance and rub it in the faces of all the soil shoving losers who are sitting at 4 out of 10 points.
I chose my name because my name is Chris.
Now, is this system fair?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
How is it fair?
It's
It's
much
interesting.
fair.
It's interesting that the people who didn't get placed as peasants are like, yeah,
It's
this
fair.
system's fair.
Ah,
It's
yes,
fine. Everything's
It's
great.
completely fair.
Give everybody a 10 out of 10 for participating.
And that brings up something good, Caleb. Caleb brought up everyone should get a 10 out of 10 for participating. Oh, no. My job is to give you a real, authentic glimpse into feudalism, which means when this goes in the gradebook, I want you to remember this moment. I want Lily to have nightmares about choosing the wrong name in Oliveri's class. I want you to really feel what being a peasant would be like.
No.
Which means Zoe and Caitlin, what was it? 54 points out of 10 for this assignment?
I need these good grades.
Lily?
I need good grades.
4 out of 10. Should have picked a better name, people. It was a choose your own adventure. You can't blame me for this. It's not on
We
me.
didn't know. We were just choosing a name.
Yeah, my name
They all
is
sound about
Chris.
the same.
Okay, Queen Caitlin and Queen Zoe, are you feeling
don't
like your
know.
classmates are kind of bitter right now?
Yeah.
A little
My
angry?
name is Chris. I chose Chris.
Like
Wait, can I explain something?
as the kids would say, they're kind of salty right now.
Why
Yeah,
wouldn't we be
they're-
salty?
Wait.
What do you wait, Chris, what do you mean?
Why wouldn't we be salty?
What do you mean?
We literally have 4. We started with 10.
But
We had to give everyone above us 2.
but as Eric pointed out earlier, Eric C, what happens if you don't take part in feudalism, Eric?
You die.
You
Yeah,
die, right?
but
You
if
would have gone a
wait.
0 out of 10 if you didn't take part in this system. You should be happy that you have the kings and the queens and the lords and the knights to protect you.
Can I
At least you're
explain
getting
something?
something out of it.
Can I explain something?
What do you mean, Sienna? It's not legal. It was legal for thousands of years in Europe. I'm literally recreating a historical practice in my history class. What more?
Mr. Oliveri, can I explain something?
Collective punishment is a war crime. It's not collective punishment, people. You chose your own fate.
Hey,
Mr.
To
Oliveri.
be honest, you should get fired for this.
Let's see.
Like someone
I
said.
gotta stick with people who are raising their hands now. Lily, go for it.
Well, first of all, it's not. It's actually even better than like actually what happened because at least we had a choice, and also, this was like their money, like to buy their food. Like to be fair, like that was like literally what they needed to survive. This is just a grade and an assignment. And also, if you're a good student, you should be able to make up the points anyways. Because
Totally, right? You just have a little bit more room to
Also-
grow now.
Also,
That
now
means
you
I-
can- you
But
can
I
still
won't be
go
able to get
class.
100% exactly.
That's true.
That's not fair.
Life isn't fair. It's not supposed to be fair. Feudalism wasn't designed so that it was fair, people.
You don't need 100%. It's the same as a 90%.
I would just like to also point out that, like, there was a plague. Maybe the queen could just,
It definitely happens. There are dangers that could come. Now, keep this in mind, though, that like, are the peasants bitter enough that they're going to rebel? That you're going to go fight back? Keep in mind, those kings have many lords and nobles and knights to fight on their side. And so if you're sitting there being really bitter like Sebastian is holding a weapon up to threaten his king or queens, remember what happens to rebellious peasants. I can't think of a single successful peasant rebellion. I can think of a whole lot of rebellions that start with the nobles, but I can't think of a single one with the peasants. I think Eric might be kind of bitter, Mr. Dalton. What do you think? Can you see him smashing his camera right now in frustration? It's almost like he didn't want to be a soil-shoving loser peasant. Though obviously he should have just picked a better name. That's not on me. Now, how about this? Mr. Dalton, should we make it a little more fair? I think there's an attack coming to the kingdom. And unfortunately, because of those self-sufficient manners, the neighbors of this kingdom haven't been trading with anyone. And so unfortunately, invaders have come. And, oh, sorry, one quick thing. Here's a little add up. Invaders have come. And unfortunately, the forces of Zoe and Caitlin have both been killed. Their armies are dead. The peasants are gone. Even Zoe and Caitlin, the queens of this kingdom,
Yay, we're all
have
dead.
been attacked. Which means really we're all at 0 out of 10 points, right?
Yeah. No one gets bonus.
Why are you peasants celebrating it that?
Because
Why are you
the
like,
people-
yay, everyone's just as bad as we are. Yay!
Mr. Oliveri, can I explain something?
Nope, not right now, Caleb.
No,
So now
it's
check it out.
really important.
No, let me wait, Caleb. All right,
Okay.
now check this out.
It's impossible.
For some reason, how do I word this? There's a teacher who teaches at BCE who likes to teach about feudalism, and they do it with M&Ms, and they make the peasants pay up their taxes and M&Ms to the king and queen, which I think is pretty rad. But then at the end of it, they redistribute out those M&Ms so that everyone gets an equal portion, which is not feudalism. That's not fair. That's not right. That doesn't teach anything. You should feel that anger, that bitterness, that distrust, that wanting to grab Sebastian's sword and go stab your king or queen and take back the power, because you should be a frustrated, soil-shoving loser peasant. But as Sienna laid out, I can't actually have points in the gradebook based on what name you chose. So instead, everyone gets 0 points because feudalism is awful.
Yay.
And your kingdom was conquered. You want a chance to get those points back?
Yes. But can I explain something first?
Not yet, Caleb. Just wait a second, and then I will let you. I promise.
It's a way
Here's
to
what you
keep
gotta do
all my
now, okay?
points.
Now that I've got you feeling really angry and bitter, I'm gonna give you a chance to get those points back, which seems really nice and fair of me, if you ask me at least. Obviously, I'm gonna think it's nice and fair though. Just give me a second. So here's what we're gonna do. Remember that peasants didn't actually get this chance to get these points back. If you were born in the life of a peasant, you were a peasant, and you will always be a peasant. And if you are lucky to live past 30, because most of them didn't, what do you get to do at 30? Work and continue being a peasant. There is no like upward mobility. Your odds of becoming a knight from being a peasant is basically 0. And I'm gonna be nice and I'm gonna give you a chance. And so check it out. I'm gonna post a link in the chat. It will lead you to a Schoology assignment, which will allow you to get those 10 points back, because otherwise you're gonna get a 0 out of 10. Because